Ooh, what's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, it's Nestlemania alongside for the ride is a man whose favorite band is Blink-180. Shush, JC.
That was pretty good. And now, you know what? Fun fact about JC, that was my second ever CD, was the Blink-182 CD with the nurse on it. It was my second ever CD as a kid. So,
do you know she was a porn star? Did you know that?
I mean, how old was I? 10? Like, I don't know.
I mean, the songs
I liked all
very...
the songs that I had heard that everyone knew.
Are you a
my
Blink
first
fan,
CD
by
was
the way?
Smash Mouth. My second CD was Blink-182.
Oh, wow. Smash Mouth. Now you're hitting it.
I mean,
you're
I'm
a
a
lot
lot younger
Nestle,
than you, Nestle. So I was like a kid. So
a
that
lot
stuff
longer.
really spoke to me.
Give me a break.
I am. I'm
4 years.
I'm 10 years younger than you.
10 years. If somebody out there actually thinks you look younger than me right now, that'd be
because I can
ridiculous.
actually grow facial hair unlike
Oh,
you.
there it is. Low blow right off the bat about my facial hair problem. Okay. Anyway, it's a decent week of wrestling. We've had a lot to talk about, a lot to see, to analyze, if that's a word. Let's get into it. It's shine time, my friend. Yeah.
Always in the shine, much like Mandy Rose, who is still your NXT Women's Champion, which we're going to get. You know what, Nestlemania? I'm going to switch it up. We're going to start with that here in the shine. We're going to start with a little Halloween Havoc here on NXT. And that is because not only did Mandy retain, but my favorite part of the NXT show was those haunted house segments we got where Alba kind of invited Toxic Attraction to come and she slowly dissected and took away JC and Gigi. I thought both of them were great in this segment with their comic relief, like especially JC with her like reactions and being scared. But the thing of it was, we know with Alba, it's like she's once pretty much taking on 3. This is like her 3rd time at the NXT title. So she picks them off one by one until she can get Mandy, throws her in the truck, takes her to the arena, but eventually, what happens with Toxic? They always got her girls back. They come back to stop the cheating Alba Fire, and Mandy wins clean 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring with the best knee in the wrestling business, baby. And that's why she's always in the shine.
Are you part of the Mandy Rose fan clubs and also best friends with a Wade Barrett? Because it sounds like you said clean win and a cheating Alba Fire.
Yeah,
is that
Wade
true?
Barrett probably is the smartest man on commentary because he is the only one that gives Toxic Attraction the credit they deserve.
I enjoyed it. I thought that our girl Gigi did a fantastic job with the Halloween stuff. She's right there with it. This was for me a character development moment for JC, because most of the time, and I say this very much biased because I'm staring at a certain person in Toxic Attraction and not JC, but JC, she really had some character here, and I was thinking to myself, this was really good. And I think our boy Dom pointed out that this felt more production level quality of a movie. And they did a great job with it. And then, then you have the match, which again, isn't bad. But I do love the haunted house stuff. And I just thought Alba did a great job in the match too. I'm just glad she didn't win. Because to me, I think if she had won, it kind of just deflates the whole situation.
She wasn't one. That Mandy's going to get well over a year. I mean, I don't expect her probably to lose to WrestleMania weekend. My guess at that point, it'll probably be Roxanne, but I think we have a ways to go before we get there. Yeah. Because she really is the future of the business, I think, in the women's division. But we have a long way to go before then. So, I mean, look, that's like the 3rd time Alba's challenged Mandy. I've enjoyed all 3 of them. I think they got great chemistry. I think Alba's one of the most talented women they have in the entire company, period. I think hopefully she's up on her way up sooner rather than later, because I mean, I think she's done all she can do between NXT and NXT UK. So I'm excited to see her get to the next step. But yeah, no, this was great because a lot of the times these segments can be a risk because yes, we know part of being a wrestler, especially in WWE, is you do have to be kind of an actor. But as we know, there are a lot of people who really struggle with that. But I thought Toxic Attraction did a great job in their roles because like JC and Gigi really had to sell us on this segment, like with their little like quips and quirks. And I mean, like, yeah, I thought they both did a great job and they both exceeded my expectations. So I'm happy for them because obviously Mandy's on a huge level. And when they go up to the next level officially, we've seen a little bit of toxic there. It's just like they've needed a little more seasoning, but I think this character stuff definitely will help maybe hide some of the flaws.
I do want to point out that the ladder match at the beginning of the show to me was chef kiss. I loved all
Shout
five.
out Wesley. Well deserved.
Your boy, boom, 6 for 6 on predictions. Even though we didn't predict it on the podcast, so it is what it is.
Yeah, but how much are you behind
only
me?
6.
That's easy. Only 6.
Only 6.
Yeah,
give me
I got 5 right, baby.
Give me AEW, and it'll be all set with 13 matches. I'll find a way.
AEW is the reason why I have the lead. For some reason, I predict AEW like perfectly.
It must be you and Tony Khan must be great.
I just think like Tony Khan. I think like a fucking virgin fan. And I'm like, this is how he's gonna book it.
Yikes! A virgin fan, you say?
Yeah.
All right. I do want to say that I'm very happy Wesley won because he's had quite a tumultuous year or so. Yeah. And so it's nice to see him get his comeuppance. And he was the only one because I think Melo's on his way up. The other 3, to be honest with you, Frazier's great, but I don't think the crowd really would have cared too much.
It's weird with him because like I think he is really over when the crowd's there. I picked him just because I was like I feel like it's got to be him or Wesley because like you, I'm like don't think it's gonna be Melo. I don't even know really who that other guy is, the Oro guy, really at all. He's just kind of shown up, so that would have been a weird thing. And then we know Vaughn was just in there for the car crashes, because you always need a big man in a ladder match. But yeah, no, that match between that match and then the haunted house segments, I really much did enjoy Halloween Havoc. There were other good stuff that maybe we can hit on later in Nestlemania, but
sure.
I would like to shift gears to Raw because you know what? If you look at the title of this podcast, you know where I'm going because I think my favorite thing in wrestling right now, and this is saying something, when you got MJF, the Acclaimed, Sammy and the Bloodline, but it's like the second Dom Mysterio grabs a mic, I like never feel more interested in wrestling in that moment because the reactions he gets are insane. And I just like, it's so weird for a guy that was just like, it's like, I want to hear what he has to say. And when he called himself this generation's Eddie, and it was like, oh no, actually, Eddie was that generation's Dom Mysterio, and he's busting out his accent. I was like, holy fuck, like, when did this kid find his groove with promos? Like, we've kind of noticed it the last few weeks. He hasn't had to do much, but when he does, it's so effective. But this week, I felt like they gave him a little more rope to like kind of hate himself, and he didn't. I thought he made a lasso and fucking boom, nailed that fucking bull. Like, I don't know what it is, but like the Judgment Day, it's like, it feels like it should be the same shit every week. It's just like they come out and kind of promo, but for some reason, when I look back in the week, it's still one of the most compelling things on TV.
I agree. I think it's hilarious in general. And our boy Aaron's in the chat. What's up, Aaron? LOL was hilarious when he said that. I agree. We all agree.
Good.
But here's the thing. And I'm not taking away from Dom Mysterio because he's doing a great job. And I think Judgment Day, especially I think Finn, even though Finn and Rhea aren't necessarily the leaders, they feel very much front and center.
Yeah.
And Priest, I'm kind of forgetting about. I mean, he's still very, very, very good. But it's really Finn poking and prodding people. It's Rhea body slamming fucking Doc Gallows, what even, Luke Gallows, whatever.
Your boy.
And like, I sat there when she fucking body slammed him. All I went was like, all right, I already have a hard enough time with the OC, but to see Rhea body slam Gallows, I was just like, fucking time of death. Like it was, you couldn't make the Judgment Day cooler in my mind with Finn and his fucking abs and Rhea looking like a fucking She-Hulk, and Dom doing this fucking
mullet.
The Ellsworth-ish stuff. And, and then she body slams him. I'm like, holy fuck. Like the crowd is going to turn on the Judgment Day because they're going to enjoy the Judgment Day down the line. Like it's not happening right now, but like just anything organic, the heels eventually become the baby faces.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's when I'm watching this, I'm like, Rhea is going to end up getting a huge tidal wave coming her way. Like you can see it building. Like it's slow, it's building. And then once fucking after probably Royal Rumble, it's just Rhea is going to riptide the shit out of people. And I hope she beats Bianca Belair because she's ready. She's ready.
I might have something later in my hope about Rhea now. I'm kind of feeling inspired, and it doesn't have to do with Bianca Belair because I'm pretty married to Bianca and Charlotte at WrestleMania.
Married. So look, very quickly though, is he? So here's a debate. Very quickly, 1 second debate. Is Dom Mysterio better than Eddie Guerrero?
Come on.
No, I know, but he's better than Ellsworth.
Like,
He's better than Ellsworth. We'll give him that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, but he at least has a chin. But no, the reason why it was so effective was not only because of like how ridiculous the statement was, but it was like just like we were introduced to Dom Mysterio over the custody battle between Eddie and Ray.
Right.
So Dom just mentioning his name in general is going to get attention. And that's why it's like, I'm glad they kind of saved it for that because it felt like, ooh, because it's not something like that he goes to every week, but like he just went to it when we least expected it. And it was just kind of like, man, this should be the part where we're getting sick of this bullshit. Because
right.
They do a 6-man tag, but it's like, you give me that one little line and boom, I'm in. It's the best thing.
Here's the thing. If you leaned in legit, if you leaned into him being Eddie Guerrero's son, like if he came out in a fucking purple lowrider with Judgment Day,
but see, here's the thing.
I'd be done. I don't know what I would do. I think I would laugh so hard.
That stuff for when
Mania.
he goes one-on-one with his dad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's when you go back. But I like that we got a little taste, a little snack.
Bertsky, any Dom with 2 hands has a fighting chance. Thanks.
That's true. But yeah, that was the other part of the segment is obviously the fucking Snore C came out and had a very cringe promo, and AJ was trying to say Ellsworth, but like couldn't speak, and
oh
got the other 2 idiots. But hey, you know what? Then we had a match and Finn beat Carl, so that was good.
Carl, the toughest man in the room. Carl.
Yeah.
And Carol. I'm glad that they had a good match. It was fun. What I didn't enjoy, this should be in the heat, but it was since we're connected tissue. The balls stuff at the later on in the 2nd or 3rd hour with the ice packs and the balls and we got a Rhea problem. I'm curious where we go because I don't know if they're going to grab Beth Phoenix. I don't know if they're going to grab some other.
I don't think we're going to get that stuff till after Crown Jewel as we lead into War Games. I think that's when we get the Beth and Edge stuff back. I think we're going to get through the Crown Jewel with the 6-man tag, and Rhea will probably body slam Gallows over there. So,
hey, you know what? It's going to be fun. There's something about it that just seems fun. So I'm
the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day is good TV.
Yeah, which I'm still floored. It was like 3 months ago. Even it was. Yeah, it's a heads and tails kind of thing. All right, anything else that you're excited about this week? Or we got to?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I don't think we're appreciating. I mean, I think a lot of us are, but like how good Solo Sikoa is already. Like his match against Sheamus and he picks up the win on SmackDown. Like that felt like a first like main roster really signature win because obviously Sheamus has been as hot as anyone lately. And like Solo to go in there and hold his own. Like, and obviously we know all the story stuff with Sami Zayn. Like that stuff's all been great. But on that SmackDown, it really felt like, okay, like this is another Solo moment for Solo. And he just continues to shine. This is a kid that every opportunity he's gotten, I think he's taken and run with it. And I think it's just so impressive. And it makes me feel good because like, he's going to have the spotlight shine on him, and to see him shining in that spotlight and not slipping up, I think is really good to see.
It's amazing to me that he's 10 years younger than Roman Reigns. He's 8 years younger than his brother. So like they're going to weed out and he's still going to be around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's already at this level, not that he's going to be the one that beats the tribal chief, but like if you listen to interviews between Solo or you listen to Roman Reigns, Roman's like, I'm dragging my family up.
Yeah.
And I expect the next generation to drag that up higher. And so like Solo Sikoa is the answer to that equation. I think, I'm not putting too much stock in the guy, but you can see it. Sikoa.
Every time.
Sikoa. He should just be Solo. He shouldn't be he shouldn't be
Solo Sikoa. No, you just don't want it because you can't say it. You always say Sequoia like the goddamn tree.
You know what it is? It's one of those things where like my brain can't have it. Like the tree. Yeah.
That's the best. It's like every time you say it, you just keep on going because I'm like, you don't even realize he said it.
Listen, it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? I know I'm gonna screw it up, so I might as well own it. You know what I mean? And just let people make fun of me for it. Solo Sikoa. I know I can do it. I know I can do it.
Give him a round of applause.
Sequoia. You can't do it. See? Sequoia. I can't do it. It's a whole thing. But anyway, he's a fucking stud. Anyway, yes, we know that they actually I would assume Sheamus's arm was broken or hurt or whatever.
I felt
before.
like they were gonna write him off for a little while.
Yeah.
And maybe they revisit this after Crown Jewel, but because the Bloodline took him out after. But then obviously we had the more storytelling stuff later with the Bloodline, where Jay talking about being a loose cannon, and Sammy's like, well, hey, Roman said don't do anything with Logan Paul, but of course Jay's like, I'm a crazy man, and he goes and he attacks Logan Paul. So
I just want a buddy cop movie with Sami Zayn as like straight man police, and then fucking Riggs over here, Jey Uso, and like, jumping off buildings and shit. Like, it would be fucking awesome. The two of them together make me laugh and make me like, the only thing at the end of SmackDown, I went, okay, now I'm intrigued for next week's SmackDown, because who's in trouble? Is it Jay or is it Sammy? Right? Because Sammy's responsible for Jay, but Jay's a hothead, so it's like, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do here? It's
Roman
very
Reigns
intriguing.
does return on SmackDown this week.
It's very
on FS1, by the way.
I was
so
going to
check
say
your DVRs.
FS1. Make sure you don't forget it, or just listen to the podcast, and we'll keep you updated, because you don't have to watch 2 hours of that. So it is what it is. Moving on. Anything else that you had that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the crazy Liv we got this week. Her and Sonya's match went a lot longer than I thought, but I love that she continues to have this mean streak and beat up Sonya after the match, because it's one of those things. It's like when you get this like baby face who's kind of losing her mind, watching them beat up heels. It's just like, I'm cheering, but should I be cheering because she's doing, or should I be cheering because she's doing the heel things? But I just like this because talk about it all the time. Like after people lose a title, it's like, well, what do you do next if they're not going for the title? It's like, you've got to find a way to spin them in another direction. And they're doing that with Liv. And it's pretty compelling because obviously people are making the connections to Bray Wyatt and this and that. So I just think it's very interesting. I like that, like, they still are continuing to give her a big chunk of the show, because I think she still is someone on that roster that, like, a short list that fans go to see. Like, people love Liv. Like, they just do. She's likable. So I like that they're giving us a different version of her, because her whole career has just been like, yeah, she's an underdog. Woo, Liv's awesome. It's like, this is the first time they're kind of letting her like be more than that and try something different. So I think that's exciting.
And on top of that, she should be, I think, this week on Chucky. So that's a huge,
I will not be watching that.
No, I know. But I probably will end up watching it at some point. Our boy Ray, avid Chucky lover.
Yeah.
If you saw pictures on his Instagram, him and his wife and his dog Sasha all dressed up like Chucky, because he's
creepy as fucking shit. Ray, get that shit away from me. God.
For those that don't know, please send all of your dolls at JC of the JK.
Dolls and feet, get them out of my face.
So you want socks on your dolls?
I don't want dolls, period, and I want socks on my humans.
What if you fall in love with a woman, like she's perfect for you, and you go to have extra fun, and you open the door to the bedroom, and then it's just dolls everywhere? Are you out? Are you out of there? Or are you putting on
everyone has a price? Everyone has a price, but man, that would
let's go on the
I
couch
wouldn't
instead?
be comfortable. Would not be comfortable. No, especially if you like creepy dolls. Like whatever, like dolls, like whatever. But like creepy dolls, like went out to brunch on Sunday at a wedding with some of my friends, and we went to a place, and they had like the little puppet dolls like up, and I was just the whole time I'm eating, I'm just like, stop fucking looking at me, you creepy Pinocchio.
Bertsky says depends on the female, to be honest. Look,
yeah, everyone has a price. Everything has.
In the words of the $1 Million Man, everybody's got a price. So I agree. Creepy dolls, I think, are fantastic. Just respect them. That's all I would say.
I'm not going to respect a creepy block of wood.
Well, a lot of bad juju is going to come your way one day.
Well, that's fine. It can get the fuck out of my face.
Wow, you're very violent towards an inanimate object.
No, I just don't need it. I don't need it.
Okay, I'm just asking because I think when Ray hears this, Ray's gonna be very disappointed.
That's fine. That's fine. Everyone has
Chucky's
their taste.
Chucky's
my
a legend.
They're not creepy dolls.
Chucky's a legend. Chucky
not a legend
is one of one.
Yeah, he's fine. He can be a legend away from me.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Moving on. What else you got?
So the other main thing of Raw that I really enjoyed was I enjoyed a lot of the Miz Gargano stuff, because I'm kind of been a little like worried about with like. I'm like, how much can Dexter carry? It's like, I felt like we need an added element, and Johnny's kind of been that. And I think Johnny, as his transition to the main roster, like obviously he had the little thing with Theory, but I'm like, Miz is the perfect guy to kind of let him settle in and like kind of like get a more feel of like what main roster TV is like, where beyond just the matches. And I think him and Miz have some good chemistry. And I think it's a nice added dynamic. And like, they took something that was starting to get a little bit like, I don't know what's going on, but now with this, like, tell the truth stuff, it's like, well, now I kind of want to know what happens. I'm sure it's going to be something stupid, but it's one of those things. It's like we like the little mysteries and the little things like you're watching and giving me a reason to watch next week. And it's like, well, I still don't have the answers here. We know like the Miz is freaked out, but like we know he's hiding something because he's the Miz. And it's just like, so that interests me. And I love that it also that like, I mean, my boy Corbin got a little shine and actually got to get a dub. You know, with JBL, all he does is win, which is kind of the opposite he's been for the last few years. So that's going to excite me as well as a big Corbin guy. I'm curious if you liked his attire a little better this week.
Yes, he looked less like a person, more of a wrestler. I was very excited. It looked closer to the King gimmick, which I was a fan of, obviously. I did like that Johnny Gargano called them MC Hammer Pants backstage. That made me giggle. I was chomping at the bit when I saw JBL talking about single A ball and look at it, you were in the indies for 10 years. I'm like, okay, I can get behind this because this is low hanging fruit. It makes perfect sense. I don't have to stretch my imagination for this. It's just easy, immersive content. And I appreciated that aspect of it. Where I am turning, at least in a positive sense, is that I just counted. I think there were 6 segments with Johnny Gargano, at least.
I loved it.
And so there are things I can absolutely nitpick because it's me. One being that he was concerned for his wife and stopped in the hallway. And then just like, not only was his wife jumped a half an hour ago, but like, you know, and then he was like, I'm trying to get to Candace. Is like, what the fuck's going on? Like, wouldn't a husband get there?
Nestle, you have to understand when they go to commercial, time freezes.
I understand that because I understand. I fast forward too. Yeah. But, you know, it was one of those things where I'm like, all right, that's not believable, but whatever. But JBL and Corbin saved it, of course, in the MC Hammer line. But the one
Shut up, Shamrock.
Shut up, Shamrock. So the other thing that I wanted to say here was this was going to be a bonus hope, but I'll save one of my hopes for later in the actual hope category. But here's what I think is going to end up happening here. I think the Miz, clearly, because they dropped the line about Ciampa, about being
they finally brought the Ciampa stuff
about being injured. So for me, I'm thinking about it as the Miz was getting very jealous. It's easy. Miz jealous of Ciampa, gets Dexter to take him out, and then, you know, blames that, you know, all this thing's happening. He was supposed to get paid or get a contract or he's going to do something. And now he refuses to help him. Ciampa's going to come back at DIY'd, excuse me. And then it's been a morning. And
Ron Uso.
Wrong Uso. Yeah. So Ciampa and Gargano DIY with Dexter. The Way will probably come back. And then, you know, the Miz will get whatever he needs to get his comeuppance. But I think that's where logically I could think we're going to head in that direction because the Miz seems like a sniveling little shit anyway from years and years and years. If Gargano's talking to Ciampa, then he knows the truth. So then that would be the logic, right? Like that would be easy connected.
That makes sense. And I think that's kind of why I really enjoyed it this week. Cause remember, like every week we kind of talked about, it's like, oh yeah, the stuff's interesting, but it's like, they're not really giving us anything. This week, they gave us a lot of meat on this story, which I thought was good. But I also have a nitpicking thing too, right? Nestlemania, you ready for this? Corbin needs new music. Maybe it's one of his 10 old musics, but like, the current music he has, which is still kind of like his Vegas happy music, does not fit at all. Like, I understand, like, it's the JBL money thing, like, they can make the comparison, but like, I'm watching him come out, and I'm just like, nah, this doesn't fit what they're trying to do. And then when he won, they're playing it again. I'm like, this doesn't fit what they're trying to do. So that is my nitpick thing. It's just like, the music doesn't work. And look, he had like 3 bangers before this that would all work fine, but just like this particular one does not work with what there trying to do.
What if they leaned really hard into the wrestling god thing and they started with a ha and then
I still needed to go to a different music because like the slot like the it's just like it's too upbeat for what they're trying to make him.
What if we just had no? Because that's.
I mean, hey, you know what? JBL's music is great. So
every time I hear that, I think it's like news is coming to me. Like
it's so perfect.
Yeah, it's like you know, whatever. All right, so we're gonna So we're going to switch real quick. We did talk about NXT, Bertsky, but we'll hit on this for you just because you're here and you're supporting. Make sure to support the Knocker and share and subscribe and all that nonsense. I think you guys already hit on NXT, but when you can hit on, if I'm curious, your thoughts on Booker T on comms. Seems like it's a hot debate on Twitter machine. So, I mean, I'm always a fan of Shucky, Ducky, Quack, 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 Quack. But the rest of them, it's not for me. I mean, I think he's great for sound bites and you put him in the pregame kickoff show. I think he's great on his podcast because he knows how to upset people with his takes. He's great. Obviously, he's a 5-time, if you count 6-time WWE champion. But he's Booker T. I mean, he's been a Rooney. He's the fucking man. So, but he doesn't need to be on commentary. Again, I think this is just a seismic 6-month shift until Pat comes back, and then things will realign and then we have to realign. So for it's like, you rear your head for 6 months. It's like, okay, here comes Book until we can find something.
It's tough with Booker because there are some times where I do really enjoy it, like the stupid shit. Then there's some times where it's just too much and I feel like he takes away from it. But yeah, no, it's the Vic Barrett pairing was so good on NXT because Wade's incredible, and I think that's why I like him being the guy to replace Pat, because you can't replace Pat, but like Barrett is so good that he'll be great with Michael Cole, and I think they've been the best commentary team since all the changes, because I think Raw has its own issues for different reasons. But yeah, no, the NXT one, it definitely does feel different. I think Booker, the more he sees it and the more he gets comfortable with the talent and with Vic, I think he'll be fine. But it just like, I'd like to see them do more of what Raw has been doing a lot, is like kind of like, yes, we don't have the 3-man booth anymore, but like try to bring more people in, because I think Booker plays better off like people than like a straight play-by-play guy. That's why, like, if you were going to do a 3-man booth, he kind of is the good third man, because I think he's a good playoff guy. But when you need him to be a primary color guy, it definitely does, especially on like a more pure wrestling show. Like during a Grayson Waller segment, he's fucking great.
Yeah,
because it's just like Grayson, straight entertainment. Book can play off it. But like when I'm watching a straight match, like it's like Vic's very good at calling the match, but it's like I need something like, you want a Corey Graves or a Barrett or like a Pat to McAfee to do something. Like they're all so great at it, but it's just, yeah, Booker's not that. So it is. I know I'm like sitting on the fence, but with Booker, I really do sit on the fence with my opinion of it.
He did not seem like a fan of Quincy Elliott, LOL. Well, look,
yeah, Booker,
I'm not touching that one. So,
well, he's always kind of been like that with like weird things. But then again, like him and Goldust were like,
that was perfect.
He made that comparison. So
I would think this much. The one part that really bothers me about Booker T on commentary is when I'm listening to him, like you said, the entertainment, he's good at reaction of, right? But then he said something during the main event that made me go, you're fucking taking me out of it. Like, And again, this is me. But again, equating like, oh, I had butterflies because I was fighting Scott Steiner, one of the best people to ever be world champion. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
I agree with that statement.
No, well, you're an idiot.
Holla, if you hear me.
Well, he's great entertainment, but he's not a great champion. Like,
there was a time
Booker T and Scott Steiner are not in the Booker T and Scott Steiner are not in the top 25 of world champions. So when he says shit like that, it takes me immediately out of it. I know what they're trying to do, but it's also like you're grasping at straws. You're really, hyperbole. It is out of this world when it comes to that stuff. Braun Breaker is going to be fine on his own. I don't think you need too much more drawing comparisons to his uncle or his dad, because I think he's at a point now where he's going to make his own way and he's doing a great job. I don't think we need to. I really don't think we need to continue to remind people that he's his, who his dad and his uncle are. So I don't know, like that bothers me. And like I said, it's more about getting himself over sometimes on commentary than it is relaying to the matchup. And I mean, again, he's very good at all the other stuff. It's just, he does take me out of it. And Vic does a great job, but Vic is so plain in a good way that he's great on the call, but I'm not excited to see him interact or react from things.
Yeah, no, and I think that's definitely, it's again, like the feeling is that when College Game Day is finished, Pat will come back to SmackDown, Barrett will go back to NXT, and then next year we'll just do it all again, because I think this is a thing that, like, especially with the College Game Day is never going to give up McAfee. They're going to want that forever. So SmackDown for Pat, if he's going to continue to work with WWE, which I think he wants to, and they want him to, it's going to become a more seasonal thing for him. So
now let me ask you this: do you think there's a possibility that they could switch McAfee and Cole and bring him over to Raw? Because then he'd be around more often.
I think as the thing is SmackDown's the show because it's on Fox.
Okay.
Like SmackDown, twice as many people watch SmackDown because it's on like it's on Fox.
Yeah.
And so that is the #1 show. That is why Michael Cole was on that show. And so I think as on it is, that's like, you see it. It's just like, that's why Roman Reigns is on that show. That's why all these people are on that show. That's why Bray Wyatt's primarily on that show now. Like that is the show. Because it's on Fox. So I think as long as they have that Fox deal, Michael Cole ain't leaving SmackDown.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Especially with the shit show on Raw with commentaries.
Anything else? Or would you like to?
No.
Okay. I will then hit the button on get him off my TV, get him off my TV, get him off my TV. Well, I'll get to, we're doing more Viking Raider stuff. Great.
Are we?
Who cares?
I didn't even see it.
I
must have buzzed through that.
You must have buzzed right through it for the 30-second promo. Good job. We got Mac and Cross in a cage. JC, help me take my bra off, in the words of Carla Espinosa.
Literally, it's like, how can you make a feud that is the drizzling shits even worse? Put him in a fucking steel.
Have diarrhea in a cage. That's how you do it.
God.
Diarrhea in a cage.
This is like, if we had like pinnacle heat for 2022, this booking is that.
Really, I can't
It's
believe
bad.
they're doing. You know, and maybe they just needed you know, some type of spectacle for Crown Jewel. So they said, you know, they like cages over there. Let's do a cage match, and McIntyre will win this one, and then we'll go on to a
Man,
third.
I hope so for his sake.
You know, it's just.
Oh God, that means we're gonna have a third though.
Yes, get ready for a bad time. It's exciting. It's exciting. I'm excited for you because you're gonna have to sit through that shit.
Oh no, I just won't watch that. That's very easy for me to avoid.
As a Mac guy, Cross Mac is the shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things like, yeah, we like to shit on Mac a little extra, but like this isn't about Mac. This is the combination of them.
It is
horrible. And putting him in a steel cage is fucking horrible.
You know what it is? It's the inability to be like, okay, like I'll even agree with Danny because Danny, we love Danny. Danny Grimwood is an amazing human being and I love him. But you know, you look at Mac and you're like, okay, guy can be on a poster, be on a side of a truck, a cup, whatever. Like I get it. Like he's not for me. But he's a
main event player.
He's a poster
He's
child.
not the guy, but he can be one of the guys.
He can be one of the guys. I have bought into that because I think he's earned that right. It's hard to super, you know, seed and strap the rocket to somebody like Cross after having the stupid thing on his head. And it's just like, I know what we're trying to do. Here we're trying to like Max up here. We're trying to make Cross up here so he can be in the conversation. But the reality of it all is he doesn't deserve it yet. Like he hasn't, you know what I mean? Like he hasn't shown to the crowd. He hasn't shown to the fans. I'm sure it's there because Triple H is fascinated with this Cross character, fascinated with Scarlett and the presentation, the whole thing. Yeah, well, obvious reason for that. But I mean, you're fascinated for certain things. I get it. But like you said, it's like oil and water. It
doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And it's just, it's one of those things where at least they're not bowing out of it and not explaining it. They're just, you know, digging in and they're trying to figure it out.
At the point where it's like, when they stop this, where are either of them going?
Right.
And so like, we can at least like have these two go at it till the Royal Rumble. And then we're in Mania season and we can do what we have to do.
Yeah.
But it's like, until then, it's just like, especially when you're looking at SmackDown, it's like, because there's Roman, you have the tribal cuck. And now we also have Bray Wyatt who's feuding with himself maybe. So it's just like, so where does that leave us? You know?
Right. I mean, I honest to God don't know. Like, Cross never has in any iteration of anything he's done in Impact or wherever else, NXT, WWE, he's visually appealing, obviously. But like we said, he's like Samoa Joe. Bell rings. I'm going to go get a beverage. You know, it is what it is. It's hard because Triple H sees something in him that we don't.
Yeah, and I think they can make a point because there were parts of NXT where I was like, okay, I can see it, and like the one of the matches he had with Keith Lee, I thought was really good, and that could have been more about Keith Lee, who knows? But I thought that one really worked, and there were a few moments where I was like, okay, then obviously he had the injuries that kind of derailed it, but it's just like it's tough because he was a guy that was already going to struggle to the way they're presenting him and his size and everything, and him just not being that great in the ring. And then when he debuts on Raw with the fucking helmet and he's losing, it's just like, well, you're just taking a guy that was already going to struggle and you're giving him no chance. And so then we have like the 1 year cool off, like we talk about with Hit Row, and you just bring him back and you stick him right back where you think he should be. It's like, it doesn't really work like that. So
it's weird. Like, and again, I don't know the guy at all, but it still feels like, gee, golly, gosh, I'm nice to be here versus like, no, motherfucker, I'm going to take this world by the fucking...
Yeah, for a guy who's supposed to be a badass, his actions don't really show that yet.
And I think once that switch turns on, we'll probably forgive a lot more.
TikTok to what?
Yeah.
To what?
I don't know.
It's great. It's a cool saying, a cool presentation. Scarlett makes cool threats, like when you flip it over, but like what? Then what?
I don't know. Is he going to
strap match? Great job. Strap match to a steel cage match. You guys are really doing good by these guys.
Well, if we're staying with the S narrative, next will be stairs.
Hey, you know what? I've seen one stairs match and it was great.
Eric Rowan, stud, fucking stud.
What a match. Tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs.
Oh, I'm curious. This is a heat for me, but I'm curious how you feel about this. The Omos and Braun thing happening. It's true. The match is more focused on Braun being exposed and being a fraud, or, you know, not being the biggest giant in the room, and Omos and yada, yada. On Monday, we had Omos, jobber alert, 4 dudes. For me, it's not 5 guys, it's 4 guys. But here's the thing.
When it's 5.
Only when there's 5 burgers and
one
fries.
For each finger.
Yeah, well, okay. how do I go? How do I whatever? I'm not even gonna.
You're the one who took it there. I was just saying, like, you have 5 fingers.
No, you took it in the weird gutter. I'm talking about burgers and fries. You're implying
I
something
just
else.
made a statement. You're the one who reacted to the statement like that, so you made it weird.
You are what they call you. Anyway, so listen, I will say this much. I don't care about Omos, and I know you're saying YouTube views are different, and I understand that.
Well, no, I'm just, when you said like nobody cares about Omos, I'm like he's a heel in front of a crowd fighting a bunch of no ones on Monday. Nobody cares, but like it's one of those things like he's an attraction. Like it's the same thing with Braun. Like no matter what he does, the YouTube views are high. Omos has been the same way. So for me, I like the SmackDown stuff. I enjoyed because it's just like the visual of being like, holy fuck, you forget how big Omos actually is. Like we kind of saw it with Lashley too, but like with Braun, it's even more so because Braun is bigger than everyone. It's not even close. And then look at him looking like a fucking peanut to Omos. It's like, okay, I'm sold on this. But now the problem is they have several weeks to that. And you have, I mean, MVP can try all he wants with the promos, but it's just like, if you put them out there by themselves, like it's not going to do much. It's like, and that's the thing. It's like, since Triple H has taken over, Omos has been one of his biggest things where he doesn't seem to know what to do with, whereas Vince was great with guys like this. But I thought like at least doing the Braun thing, like I'm interested. Like this match is sold to me. I want to see it because you got the two giants. Like it's one of those things you don't have to do anything to lead up to it and it will be fine. But they're trying to do something and it's just like, I mean, it's one of those things. Now that we've seen them together, what if I see them by themselves? It's just like, well, I don't. It doesn't do anything.
Right, exactly.
So I agree with that aspect, but saying nobody cares about Omos is completely wrong because I can tell you this: people who just casually tune in, when people ask me about it, the first thing they ask me about is Omos. Like, oh, that's a big motherfucker. Like, because it's just like there's nothing like him. Braun's a closest thing, and we see that Braun's a different animal, but Braun's also smaller, which is insane.
I think that maybe I tweeted that out wrong. What I should have said was, I don't think anybody in the WWE knows what to do with him
100%
after this.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things. The Lashley feud was great because it made sense. Right. Now the Braun feud makes sense, but it's like it's so hard with Omos, especially because like I think we agree he probably shouldn't at this point. I don't think he should be a world champion. No. Maybe he gets better, but it's like with Braun, I looked at him like, yeah, he can be a world champion because I think he can wrestle a match like different styles. Omos only really has one thing. He's just bigger and he can beat the fuck out of you. Like, I don't expect Omos. I expect him to sell a little bit for Braun, but beyond that, it's just like, you know, Braun and Big Show were different types of big men. Omos is more of the standard, just a big guy.
He's Giant Gonzalez with a little more athleticism.
Yeah, he's a lot more athletic than him, but it's just still, it's like he's not on the level of Braun, Big Show, or Mark Henry. So it's like there's a ceiling with it. And the problem is when you're that tall, trying to fit them under that ceiling is difficult.
And that's where the Undertaker would have come in if he was still around. He'd be Undertaker or Omos, and that would made more things for Undertaker to do, I guess. But now maybe it'll be Bray Wyatt someday against Omos. I have no idea.
That'd be a tough match.
No, I know, but I'm just thinking
that'd
like
be a tough match.
You know, that's the thing. You know, you can throw out as many enhancement talents as you want, which I love.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but it's just one of those things. It's just a flat line, you know?
Right.
It's not getting worse, but it's not getting better. So it's just there. So it's like, you know,
you're not missing. Here's the thing. So when I look at a segment, whether it's a match, a promo, whatever you make in front of me, I'm looking at it like this. If I see a jobber match, I'm excited. I'm keeping time for obvious reasons. For 3 minutes or less, so your jobber's free. But the other thing too is it gives you a second to be like, well, he's just gonna fuck these guys up, and then is there gonna be a promo afterwards? And it's just like it's very formulaic. It's not necessarily you're excited about it. So with Braun, at least I know when Braun comes out, I go, oh my God, I love Braun. This guy's fucking awesome. What is he going to do?
Well, so here's the difference. And I think you kind of like sparked this in my head as you were saying it. It's a really good point. The whole point of an enhancement match is to show off the abilities and the skill set and the move set of that person. So with Braun, it's a no-brainer. Like Braun has a pretty good move set. It's actually pretty solid. It's like entertaining moves that get the crowd up and things. Omos, like, doesn't really have a moveset. Like he does the two-handed choke thing, but like besides that, like he doesn't really have signature stuff. So they give him these enhancement matches where it's like, yeah, he's throwing guys around, but it's like it's not showcasing anything special where it builds up a mystique in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the times, like when Corbin did it, you had his signature moves. You got to see his 3 moves, and they were fucking great. Like when Braun does it, you see his 3 or 4 moves, and it's great. Or like any other type of jobber match, it's like you show off the signature moves of that guy, and it makes you comfortable to expect those moves. It's like, okay, I believe that. But with Omos, and I know our boy Guthrie, I'm saying something positive about you, so listen here. He says, like, what is Omos's finisher? Like, it's like, and I think that's part of it is like they're doing all these enhancement matches for Omos, but like there's nothing being highlighted. So it's like, what am I supposed to take out of this and remember besides that he's big and he kills people? Like, it's like you need to enhance something, and all they're doing is just enhancing. Like,
there's no impressive nature, like
Yes.
besides his stature.
yes,
You know, when like KP said, he was like, he barely lifted his leg when he hit that guy with a big boot. And all I could think about was what a pedestrian thing to say to a 7'6" giant. Like, you're supposed to lose your shit. You know what I mean? Like, when you see that stuff, and Graves did a great job with it, but I'm watching at home and I agree with you. Like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm not excited to see the lead up to this. I'm excited to see the fucking match. I hope that, the ring explodes or whatever. But realistically, I don't think I don't think there's enough time to put Omos through the ringer to get him where you needed to go. And like, we're kind of stuck with where we're at.
I kind of thought like this could be the WrestleMania thing, but I think it's just like they realize it's like we have these two things like in Crown Jewel, it's like the big fight. So that way, if it flops, it's at least over there. So it won't be a whatever, but it's just like I feel like they just felt like they had to do it. Whereas I was kind of looking like it'd be a cool like tease it for the next 6 months and do it at Mania. But I understand pulling the trigger on it now. But again, then I'm worried about what comes next. So
okay, moving on to two things that really upset me. We can break them down if you want or not. It is what it is. The audio playing way too loud over the Bray Wyatt promo and the Legado del Fantasma promo, where I was trying to listen very well, and I actually liked the LDF promo. I thought that was well done, seeing them drinking and being backstage, and Zelina looked great. Everything looked great, but I'm sitting there going, huh, and I got headphones on. You know what I mean? And it drowned me out. And all I could think about was, why are we doing this? Like, do we really need music? Do we really need music to carry these things through? It didn't make any sense. So I'll forgive the Legado del Fantasma thing, but I want to talk specifically about Bray Wyatt, because all I could hear, like in my head, I'm thinking to myself, it was like, doon, 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 whatever. But like, then it went into the fucking song. And all I could think about was, you can't just loop the piano part before and just let that go through the entire promo and just do it a little bit less. I mean, we're on the editing side, obviously, so we're very much production guys. But all I could think about was, this is fucking distracting as shit. And he's one that you want to hear. Just put some ominous, like,
and he's kind of soft spoken too. So
Yeah.
like, it's always one of those things, like, because back in the day, the biggest issue I had with this promos is like I had to like get next to my TV speaker to hear it, because he has just like a softer voice. So he's saying a lot of like big words and trying to confuse you. And then also when I can't hear him, it makes it harder. And like this kind of like brought it back to that, where it's like, yeah, you can't really have like this type of music bed, and especially this loud underneath a guy like that. It doesn't.
Yeah. And then of course, we talked about howdy. He actually said howdy. There it was. He did say, why would you lie to the ones that you love? As he said that a bunch of times. When I first saw them splattering some stuff on the screen, all I could think about was, I thought I heard watch me in there somewhere, which made me think of Liv. But I could be completely wrong. But it was a very short promo. I am curious how you feel about the whole, I'm a servant, I go where the circle takes me aspect of this. Because for me, all I could think about was, okay, so is he fighting himself? Like we talked about?
Yeah.
Is Howdy the bad guy? Is Harper gonna, or Luke or whatever they're gonna call it, I think it's Uncle Harper, the good version of what we're talking about, what we said, devil and angel? There's a lot to be happening here. I think they're dragging it out, which is smart. But eventually there has to be something happening here, because otherwise, if it's just backstage promos, we're like,
I wouldn't hold your breath on much development yet. I think this is one of those things. It's like, I mean, Bray's always been a slow burn, which is, I think, part of the reason it's so intriguing to people. But I think especially like it just doesn't feel like we're close to a resolution on stuff. So it's going to be a lot more of this type of stuff. So for me this week, it was just kind of like, I like seeing Bray. I'm intrigued by Bray, but it's one of those things. It's just like this week. And I expect to be like this a lot in the next few months. Cause I honestly, it's like, I don't know what they're going to do yet. It's just no idea. No idea how they pull this off.
I could see the first inkling of something happening at Survivor Series with this cage and everything. And
that's like what, over a month away. So
yeah, I think we're in 4 weeks of purgatory in terms of what we're dealing with here. And again, I'm sure they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely have a plan, but it's one of those things. It's like, and I agree, like you don't want to just blow it. Like right away. You know what? It's one of those things, and that's been the mystique of why Bray Wyatt has been so good. It was consistently, and when the WWE like was having trouble making long form stuff, Bray Wyatt was the long form stuff, and the payoffs were great because you had to earn them. But there were a lot of times like this where it was just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. So,
I mean, it's hard because it's like, he's a servant. So it makes me think like, does that mean someone else is controlling him? It's bizarre in the nature of itself, but it's not a great week for Bray Wyatt. I don't think it was like you said, it flatlined a lot more. Moving on. I'm trying to think of other things that I see here in my notes.
I'm already sick of Elias Nestlemania. It's been 2 weeks.
I know.
I don't give a fuck. It's like, here's the thing. It's like, I saw your tweet about Gargano, which I chose to ignore because I know what you're trying to do. But like, I was like, for Elias, it's like, the whole purpose of Elias is for him to sing. And instead, we're not going to get a sing. He's going to come out, he's going to wrestle for 15 minutes, and he's a fucking not a good wrestler. So it's like, I just don't care.
Hey, you know what's funny though? Like Gable doing that backflip moonsault.
Gable's amazing. Gable could wrestle me with both arms tied behind my back on one fucking leg, and he'd make it a good match.
Yeah. But the thing was that the crowd in North Carolina did not show up on Raw. So I think
it was a bad crowd on Monday. They
really
showed up
made
for one
things
thing,
worse.
which we'll get to later. But
most of it to me felt like nobody cared about that. Nobody cared about all these other things we talked about.
Nobody cared about Damage Control.
No. And I don't even like, I'm glad it was the main event, right?
I mean, it should have been the main event. That's a big match, but it's like we've already seen it 17 times.
It's a head
we
scratcher.
wanted them to get away from each other, and I don't know if they did, because main event, it's like Nikki Cross returns without Doudrop, who was the one kind of pushing her to be like this, and she attacks Bianca, it costs her the win, but then attacks Bayley after the match. So it's just like, yeah, we're getting crazy Nikki back, but that's wonderful. Like, how did we get here? Because they had, like, when Triple H first took over, we had a lot of the cool teases where like Nikki and Doudrop were in the background of random promos just arguing. Then they showed up on NXT and kind of did a thing there. And it's like, I really like the pairing of Nikki and Doudrop. I think they make sense together. I think they have good chemistry. And now all of a sudden we're just back to regular Nikki and there's no Doudrop to be found. For me, I was just like, huh?
I mean, it seems like it's easy enough to say Psycho Scots, right? They're both Scottish. So, I mean, like, let's just do that.
They just have good chemistry and they make sense together. Like, it works. So that's why I was a little disappointed, but who knows? They could easily bring it back. But it's just like, to me, and like, maybe this is how you start a tag team feud, but I don't know. It didn't feel like that was the time and place to do it. You know what I mean?
So. No. And here's the thing, like, and you can sell me on anything as long as you have conviction. But when I watched that main event, I'm like, cool, Bayley and Sasha, this is good. Damage
Bayley
Control, whatever. No, sorry. Bayley and Bianca, excuse me.
Nessel misses her. It's okay.
I do miss Sasha. I do.
We all do. She's so good.
So Belair and Bayley doing their thing. Of course, Damage Control beats up Candice, whatever. And then I think, so you hit on the Elias thing. I'll hit on the women thing. To me, these are the two like glaring issues right now. We have no tag division, nobody fighting for tag titles,
and either the men's or the women's.
For either. And we don't have more than like 4 women, maybe 6 at most, that are highlighted on either show. When you've got like, this was the only women's match on Raw, right? And I'm fairly certain, besides the Ronda promo, there was only one women's match.
Liv and Sonya was on SmackDown, and
I can't. I'm looking.
Wasn't there? There was a tag team title match on SmackDown too.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Shotzi
Raquel and Shotzi.
Okay.
Which
but
I
again,
they're not as good as Raquel and Aaliyah. So
the same people, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this Damage Control is on both shows, and they're involved in all the matches. It's just like, I would like to see non-Damage Control people. That's why the Liv Sonya thing was probably kind of refreshing to me, even though Sonya's in a bad rut right now.
I know you're going to think this is personal, and that's fine. You can, but I am curious. How can somebody like you sit there and say Damage Control overexposed, yada, 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 and then in that same breath be okay with 6 segments of Johnny Wrestling? I'm just curious.
Because Johnny Wrestling doesn't do that every week, and he's not on both shows. He's been in very small doses. But no, because this happens on Raw all the time. There's something every week on Raw that is like the main focus of, we're really moving it forward. The Miz storyline was the thing that finally got the big boost this week. We just talked about, for the last like 4 episodes, how this was like a sideline thing. And the first couple weeks of Gargano were like, oh, Gargano's come back and hasn't done anything. It's like, no, they were easing it in. This was a big storyline week for that. If Gargano shows up on SmackDown and does 6 segments there, then yeah. But no, Damage Control does 3 segments on both shows for like the last 3 months. That's overexposed. 1 week where you have 6 segments is not overexposed.
Okay, so I want your hand up right here. Pledge. If they go to Raw and he's got 6 segments next week, then what? Are you going to say that that's overexposure?
No, because he's not on SmackDown. If Ciampa comes back next week, then it's going to deserve a lot of segments. But I don't think it is going to be the main thing next week because next week's the go home for Crown Jewel. So I think it's going to be a lot of Judgment Day.
Oh, Brock Lesnar and Lashley and all
and
that.
Brock Lesnar will probably be there, and they'll probably do something maybe with the Bloodline too on both shows. So it's just like I think this was a big hurdle for that storyline, which has been a very slow burn. This was a big week for them. This was a big hump in the storyline. You're just trying to find ways to shit on Gargano.
No, I'm not.
There was nothing. There was nothing. The only thing you can equate to damage control right now is the Bloodline, but the Bloodline is doing it so much better and has so many members and has different takes that it doesn't feel as overexposed as fucking Damage Control, which is the same exact shit on both shows. Shitty, mediocre promos and the same people wrestling every week.
So here's the other thing too. I think if they had more people in Damage Control, you'd be better with it.
I don't know. No, they need to just pick a show. Pick a show.
Well, that's what happens when you have tag titles. You got to be on both shows.
Well, that's fine. You can be on both shows, but you don't need to be like a main thing on both shows every week.
Okay.
It's like if they had the tag team title match on SmackDown that week, like that's like the focus. Sure, do a promo on Raw. Don't do 8 promos on Raw. But this week it was like the Bayley Bianca was a big thing. At least it's not EO and Dakota wrestling. Like that's a little bit more, but it's just like you're getting like it's like they're beating up Candice. They're doing this. Oh, they have another mediocre promo segment. Oh, we're gonna interrupt this Kathy Kelly segment. It's just like it's not good. That's the issue. Like if you're gonna overexpose something, it has to be good, and it isn't. You're overexposing something that is bad.
Okay,
it's
fair
bad,
enough,
man.
Would you like to get hopeful? Want a palate cleanse?
Yes.
Oh, you're my only hope. You want me to go first?
I can go.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah, I told you I did earlier.
Okay.
Rhea Ripley. She's obviously on fire right now. We kind of expect her to take on Beth at some point. And I think a match like that, especially if Rhea wins it, like that's a big signature for her. And that means you're building her. And yeah, she's on Raw, which is the champions Bianca Belair. And they do definitely have some unfinished business. I think you could go there. But what I want to see more of is here's the beauty of the Royal Rumble, Nestlemania. You win the Royal Rumble, you get to choose which title you go for. And I'm thinking about the women's at WrestleMania. It's like, man, especially if Bianca and Rousey are the champions, we know Charlotte's going to go for one of them. I think Bianca at Mania makes a lot of sense. The only one that hasn't happened yet, it would let Bianca check the box of taking out all 4 horsewomen on big stages. And it's just like, okay, well, what's a match for Ronda that I'd be like, oh, and I was like, you know what? Rhea Ripley winning the Royal Rumble this year, which I think she definitely deserves because she's a stud. And especially with the backseat she's kind of taken lately of just helping elevate like other people. I think that would be huge. And I think by then it would make sense. In her pulling the swerve and challenging Ronda, I think on the main stage, she's looking, man, we pick apart a lot of Ronda matches, which are well-deserved. But then you put her, there's certain people that she gets in there with and you're like, holy shit, like that was incredible. And I think Rhea is one of those people that can bring out the best in Ronda because Rhea will hit her. Rhea will make her feel it. I think Rhea's physicality will make Ronda be more physical and not need to be as careful. Because I think a lot of times you can see Ronda, she kind of tries to be more careful because when she isn't, she can injure people for real because she's a trained killer. Like that's never going to leave her. Like she gets in a fight, the mode is kill, kill, kill. Like that's how she's lived her whole life. So you can tell sometimes she kind of eases. But I think with someone like Rhea, it would bring out the best of her physically. And honestly, that's a feud that would be really interesting because I think it'd be a different feel for Ronda than what we've gotten in a while. And having those 2 badass women beat the fuck out of each other at WrestleMania is something that I could hope for. So that's my hope, is that Rhea Ripley wins the Royal Rumble, faces Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania for the title. And you know what? I'd even like if she beat Ronda because I think Rhea is getting closer to being a champion at this point, and she's a stud. Hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC's hopes come true.
So somebody during WrestleMania season is going to be real butthurt because it's either Charlotte goes against Ronda or Charlotte against Bianca. And then where does Becky go if you got Rhea? You know what I mean? Like,
I think Becky has proven that she can do well in a non-title feud.
No, I know, but it feels like Becky and Ronda sells more tickets.
Yeah, no, they could definitely do that. That's why this is a hope, is because I think Rhea is going to be the odd woman out. But I would assume at this point, especially Becky might win the Royal Rumble at this point because she might not be back to the Royal Rumble.
Sure. So my hope is with JBL, Corbin, and of course everybody's favorite wrestler, Johnny Gargano. I was intrigued by this on Monday. I thought this was fun. And he mentioned something to me. I was like, okay, I know Gargano's busy with the Miz right now, but the next storyline I want to see Gargano in is with Baron Corbin long term, because I think it's going to be fun. And I just want to see JBL, like, you know, rip him to shreds. But he made a point here, which again I think would be really fun. Which you can go either way with this. Obviously, I would want to go one way. You can go another way. JBL says, okay, you know, you're not even good enough to, you know, to carry my bags. So there'd be a match between Corbin and Gargano in which Gargano would lose and have to carry JBL's bags and be like the servant for like a month or something. I think that'd be funny. Or you could go a different route and have JBL as a butler for Johnny Gargano, which I think would be funny as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity there to have Gargano and JBL play off each other. But I'm just thinking that, does that take away from Baron Corbin? I don't know, but I think it'd be kind of fun. So that's my hope. I want to see somebody wrestle with the stakes. We love stakes here on the Knocker. And I think the biggest stakes would be you got to carry someone's bag and be their servant for a month. That'd be fun.
It would be interesting.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good time. Especially with the whole, you know, you're an indie wrestler kind of thing. I think that's a good.
Yeah, no, that's why honestly, guys like Gargano are perfect opponents, because Corbin's always kind of been that guy where he's been like the indie shamer, and we know JBL is an indie shamer. So them together, that's part of the reason why it makes so much sense, is that JBL can be the more boisterous one to kind of let Corbin be more of the punishing one.
Yeah. Want to get comebacky?
Don't call it a comeback, Nestlemania, because I want you to tell the truth. I love the way they did this, because when you can take R-Truth and just organically slide him into something as a one-off, it creates such good, entertaining television. I forgot that he was from Charlotte, so this was the one part of the night where the crowd actually thought he did a good job. But he comes out when Gargano is trying to get Miz to tell the truth. So out comes R-Truth being like, "Are you gonna tell me something?" It's just like when he comes out like a ladder match where he comes out, he's like, "Oh, I'm in this," and just anytime he has like the Brock Lesnar segment, like when he's just accidentally there because he's a fool, it's just like R-Truth does that better than anyone. And the great thing about it is they don't have to go to it often, so when they do go to it, it feels special. And this obviously was something where it's like, I think the Miz and Gargano have good chemistry, but we know from experience that Miz and R-Truth have some of the best chemistry of all time. Like the Awesome Truth still like holds such a special place in my heart for that short run that they had was just so, oh my God, it was so good. So I love that. I love all the callbacks with this, but it's just like, it's simple. It's so simple with R-Truth because he plays like the idiot role so well. Like they're just absolutely clueless, there to have a good time. He's out doing his rap and he's like, "Oh, you got to tell the truth something." It's just like, it's so simple, but it's so effective. And to me this week, it was one of the more entertaining things. So R-Truth, my boy, you get my comeback.
My comeback is someone on NXT. He was a stud. He was in the 5-man ladder match. I'm going to give it to Mr. Von Wagner for looking like a stud. I think this is the best outing that Von Wagner has had. And if you're saying that I'm wrong, you're living under a rock. Obviously, Wesley deserved it. Wesley is awesome and deserves everything. I'm glad he has the championship. Mello should be up on Raw SmackDown pretty quickly. Von Wagner, though, I was worried that this guy was going to be just sinking to the bottom of the ship as quickly as possible. But he looked great with the braid. He threw Wes all over the place. I thought that was great. He had a lot of great spots. And again, it reaffirmed to me what everybody else should know is that everybody should get on the Von wagon because it's a big fucking deal. He's a big fucking deal. And he
almost killed a fan too.
I saw that. How do you not
love idiot?
So here's the thing. I think you just don't like him because I like
him.
Here's
the thing. You'll never see me. I just laugh because like you treat him like he's like a main eventer.
Oh, no.
I have no issue with Von Wagner. Like when we did the qualifiers, you didn't even pick him. I picked him to be in this match because every great ladder match needs a big idiot for the spots. Right. And I'm like, Von Wagner is perfect for that. He is perfect for that with all these little guys. Like it was a perfect role. So I'm like, I know he's going to help make all these things better because watching Wesley, Frazier, and Mello, and then even Mensah in a ladder match, it's like those guys are doing the flippy dippy crazy fucking moves. I thought Frazier had a great showing too. He was awesome. Like he's such a joy to watch that guy. They just need to get him a little bit of a character beyond his cool music. But it's like, it's like Von Wagner was the thing that had to bring all that together and give you the different pace and more of the power to go with the speed in the spots. So like he works it, but it's just like, my issue is not with Von Wagner because he cracks me up a little bit. Him and Stone, they're fucking
Come morons. Tuesday. That's his thing. Come Tuesday.
Yeah. But it's just like it's just like, It's just
Every day is come Tuesday when it comes.
It is come Tuesday today.
Oh my God. Somebody had a sign in the crowd said come Tuesday. So it is what it is. But yeah, he's getting my comeback because again, reaffirmed to me that big things are happening on the wagon. Get excited, folks.
Yeah.
Want to get to the big old finish?
Big ol' finish, Nestlemania. We'll preview NXT in a moment, but first on SmackDown this week, we have the Brawling Brutes taking on Sammy and Sikoa. We have a Ronda Rousey Open Challenge. We have Legado taking on Hit Row and a mystery member, and we have Reigns returning. So obviously we hit on some of that stuff, but what I'm curious from you is who is going to answer Rousey's Open Challenge, and who is the mystery member of Hit Row, and will they remain in Hit Row or will it be a one-off?
Oh, definitely a one-off. I was thinking Braun for a second there, but I think he's probably going to be tied up with Omos.
He was just a partner for someone else too.
Yeah, he was New Day's partner for something else. I mean, you can't just give one New Day member a part of the Hit Row thing. Maybe it's Angelo Dawkins because Montez may still be in the boot. I don't know.
True. That could work.
I mean, that's a one-off that everybody could be okay with. Who are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, I do think Melo's up soon, and like people want that to happen, but I don't think he needs to be part of Hit Row. But if they did it as a way to debut him, like sure, but I don't want him to debut yet because I feel like we've had so much. I kind of want them to give him a more of a big show moment type of debut than just a random SmackDown. So I wouldn't go there, but the Dawkins one makes a lot of sense. It'll probably let people down because anytime you get a tease like this, people like shoot for the moon.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't really have anyone on my mind, but the Dawkins one at least makes sense.
Yeah. So, I think it's going to be very underwhelming. I don't really care. In terms of the Ronda Rousey Open Challenge thing, it's like 45 women in catering that aren't getting a chance. So
I know, but it'll probably be someone returning because that's what they do. But I don't know.
I think they'll give somebody a chance. Like, the Raquel thing was a pretty cool chance for Raquel. She did a really great job. She lost, but she looked really great doing it. I could see Shotzi. I can see all sorts of things on SmackDown. I mean, I could go through the list here, but I don't think it's
this. You want me to go out on a limb?
Yeah.
Naomi.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
Is it weird to have Naomi by herself and not have Sasha? Excuse me.
I don't think so because I think one is a lot closer to being back than the other at this point. So
okay. Sounds like someone with intel.
No. Maybe.
Just saying.
But I also think that I don't know if this is the spot for Naomi because I do think they might have her not essentially with the bloodline, but adjacent to it. I think they will go with that route because Triple H understands, and especially if she's coming back in a row without Sasha. But I just think with a lot of times it's like we saw with AEW this week. When you're on at a different time or on a different channel, you kind of got to really shoot for it a little bit with some things because I mean, no matter what you do, your ratings aren't going to be as good because you're in a bad spot, but you want to try to steal a little bit and create a little bit of buzz. So I could see like if Rousey opens the show and Naomi returns, I think that would get a lot of people to click over immediately, as opposed to, like you said, if you just do a Shotzi, it's more the same. So I could see them taking a little bit of a swing this week. So if it isn't Naomi, I could see it being a little bit more of a swing, but who knows? It might be Lacey Evans. It might be Shotzi. So. I know. She doesn't have that music anymore.
Fucking love that song.
I know.
All right. Anyway, anything else you want to move on to?
NXT tonight, Tuesday. It's Tag Team Tuesday, as they're calling it.
Tag Team Tuesday.
Tag Team Tuesday. We have Pretty Deadly taking on Blade and Nafi. That's an easy win for Pretty Deadly. And we have Chance and Carter taking on Starks and Lions, a tag team that they were trying to build for the main roster. They're now building NXT. I'm a little concerned that this weird ass fucking tag team might actually beat my girls. I want the party to continue because I'm so happy for Chance and Carter and they're fun. But I don't know. Maybe they turn. Do they turn? I don't know if they can turn Nikita Lyons heel. But it just, I don't know. It's a weird dynamic in that one. But I guess I'll take both to retain.
I would think retaining is a very important piece right now because I don't think that the party girls have done much yet since they've won. So they really need to have a signature win here. I would rather see Nikita Lyons turn on Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark to me is fucking like.
Shut your ears, Guthrie.
Sorry,
she's fucking boring.
Yeah, she's
a decent enough wrestler, but
she's toast.
Yeah.
She's toast.
Yeah.
With no butter, just plain toast.
Yeah.
So sorry, Guth. I know you're usually on Nestle Island with me, but
and I'm assuming you're picking your Yes Boys as well.
Yes, boy. I love them, of course.
Speaking of the Yes Boys, their third member, Lash Legend, is taking on Shotzi in a match that will not be good.
Shotzi all day long. Thank God. Moving on.
I hope she wins, but yeah, that match is not going to be a thing of beauty.
No.
Then we also, the red hooded person will be revealed for the schism. Who is it, Nestlemania?
I thought it was that little 18-year. What was it? The girl at Chase University, Thea.
That what they're gonna do?
I thought that was her. I could be wrong. I could be
I
completely
don't know.
wrong.
They're revealing it on Tuesday. I have no clue. Again, I love the Grizzled Young Vets and I love Joe Gacy, but Schism is a fucking terrible.
Yeah, Schism is rough. It's fucking
bad,
rough,
man.
It's rough. I don't even know. Like, is the reveal going to be that big? I don't know.
I don't know because it's like kind of a newer. I don't know. It just is such a fucking weird thing. I think that's all we got for NXT. If they announce anything else, I don't know what it is. We're going over to Dynamite back on Wednesday night, and guess what? We have another random AEW World Championship. Rankings be damned. Penta El Zero Miedo will take on Jon Moxley for the AEW title.
Jon Moxley just having a great fucking banner year with matches that are fucking all over the goddamn place. He
over under 2 minutes till he's bleeding.
Oh, I'm gonna
they
say
literally blatantly show him bleeding himself now during the matches.
Yeah. So first, I want to backpedal for 1 second. MJF and Regal's promo on Dynamite, fucking awesome. That might be one of the best promos of the year. I really love that they played up the fact that Max had gotten everything handed to him, and now he says, I'm gonna wait till Full Gear and put in the chip, and I'm gonna earn it this time. Which I was like, oh, he's gonna be a mega babyface when he does that. But whatever.
He does that.
I think he will. I think he's
a smart guy.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's what they're
headed. They sold me on the pay-per-view though.
The pay-per-view.
I said it and I thought it's like one of those things like, because I'm always wishy-washy on buying them. Like if I have nothing to do on a Sunday night, I'll buy it. And I'm pretty sure that there's no Celtics that day. Or maybe it's on a Saturday. I don't even know.
Who knows?
But it's just like MJF Moxley. Like that was immediately when MJF won the chip. I'm like, I really want to see him feud with Moxley. And that's what we're getting. And it's just like, well, the rest of the pay-per-view is probably gonna have a lot of shit in it, but that match sold me.
But yeah. So anyway, with GCW now apparently partnering with WWE, that means no Moxley over there. So,
well, they've already that part of his new contract was Tony Khan wanted him to not work any dates, but Moxley fought to do some limited non-AW events. So
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
What GCW with WWE? Like, why do I care? You'll get to
For
see your boy.
Fans.
You'll get to see your boy.
Which one?
Isn't he part of him? Cardona?
He comes in from time to time, yeah. But Nick Gage is doing his business, so I'll tune into a car wreck every once in a while. So yeah, I like a good car wreck.
Fuck about Nick Gage. Also on Dynamite, we have a this is a real thing. A #1 contenders match for the tag team championships. FTR taking on Swerve in Our Glory. I mean, at this point, it's just like all I care about in AEW, the tag division, until I get it, FTR versus the Acclaimed. I don't care about anything else. I have a feeling, though, there's going to be some bullshit here with Swerve in Our Glory. I hope it's that they're breaking up during this match, but it's just like, please, for the love of God, I want FTR, like FTR Acclaimed. I don't want any other tag matches.
Terrible idea. Absolutely terrible idea. FTR should not win. Give it to Swerve in Our Glory, because here's the thing. Here's what I will say. Yes, it is a rerun, folks, but here's the other thing. Very carefully, if you put FTR, who is like mega over, against Acclaim, who need to get over even more with the scissors.
Acclaimed is like the most over thing in the show.
No, I understand. MJF. I understand that, but one of them's got to give.
FTR and the Acclaimed on pay-per-view. That's what
I think that's a bad idea. I think
it is
a very bad idea.
Because you have to do it eventually. It's like that's the match. And until they do it, nothing's going to feel special. Like, oh, you really cared about last week when they fucking took on Jabroni 1 and Jabroni 2 with fucking Sterling. They
do this all the time on AEW, so I don't understand why
it's useless TV. It's like, this is like the first time we've been like in a long time that it's like, holy shit, I feel like we have some traction here.
Okay. Well, when eventually this is the death of,
No, because that's not like AEW, like the way the fans are, the rabid fucking fans. It's just like, they cue babyface versus babyface all the time, and it works. Like, because everything's just over. Because in AEW, everyone's like to everything. So when you give them two of their favorite things, they're just gonna be in the crowd. Like,
Thank you for leaving your hands below the table. Appreciate that.
To impersonate what I'm impersonating them doing it, I'm not gonna just drop it on the table. I don't want to take it the whole thing.
What is it? You throw it over your shoulder like a continental soldier? What the fuck were you throwing out there? A fucking sausage meat? Come on.
You want to hear what else is on this card?
Yeah, whatever. Fuck it.
Danielson versus Guevara. Jericho and Garcia taking on Claudio and Yuta. I do not care about that. I care a lot more about Danielson and Guevara. And then we have Riho taking on Jamie Hayter.
I actually am interested in this matchup. I don't necessarily think it's going to be that bad. I think that
Jamie Hayter's amazing.
Yeah.
And Rio's amazing.
Rio, when she came back the other day, was it last week or whatever, on Tuesday, all I could think about was she didn't have her doilies on and she looks fucking great. Like, let's do this, She does. She looks like a fucking doily. That's what it is. She's got these fucking frills everywhere. Just fucking, I don't get it. I don't get it one bit, folks. One bit. But I'm excited for it. I love Jamie Hayter, so you know, I'm
a hater. I'm all about
a
the
lover
hater.
for Hayter.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. I don't have anything for Rampage. Sorry. I know it's your favorite show. I wasn't gonna watch Rampage this week because I had a busy weekend, 3 subs games in 4 days, and the other day I had a wedding. But I turned it on yesterday before work because I was like eating my lunch, and they had a certain thing that I couldn't miss, and that's Layla Gray and my girl Kiera Hogan. Made it worth it. Every week on Rampage, there's one reason I watch it. I'm like, man, that was worth it. Everything else, you can throw it in the trash. But the storyline where they stole Jade's title is so fucking stupid because she's not a babyface. But like, Jade's so great. Like, I'm watching it because Jade's amazing. But it's just like fucking Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. It's like fucking blow my head off. Good God.
Jesus Christ. I'll say this much.
Chop it off my head.
Rampage is like 45, maybe let's say 47 minutes of nothing. And there's 13 minutes of shit you want to see.
And this week it was Layla Gray and Kiera Hogan.
Yeah.
And then Willow got her moment. Good for her. A lot of people like her.
We like Willow. She's great. Yeah. She's wonderful.
But
Rampage, fucking infuriating. It pisses me off. Pisses me off.
So
on that note, we hoped you enjoyed this week on the Jobber Knocker. We'll be back next week with more Jobber Knockery.
Yep.
Well, that was alarming.